Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to dive into something that might surprise you, and that's 5 common health checkups that some experts say you should think twice about after you turn 70 and beyond. Here's the big question. Have you ever had a medical test that led to more problems than answers? This is something that nobody really wants to talk about, but we absolutely need to discuss this today, and that's medical testing in our golden years. I just turned 35 a few days ago, and so I'm officially a part of this group. Therefore, I can relate to many of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. Here's the thing. We've been taught our whole lives, that more healthcare is better healthcare, right? Annual checkups, screening tests, preventative scans. We line up for them thinking that we are being responsible. And look, I'm all for taking care of ourselves. But what if I told you that some of these routine tests might actually do more harm than good once you hit a certain age? I know, that sounds crazy, right? But stick with me here because the science is actually pretty eye-opening. Some of this might even surprise and shock you. Studies have shown that unnecessary medical testing in seniors can lead to what doctors call a cascade effect. One test leads to another, which leads to a procedure you didn't really need, which leads to complications you definitely didn't want. And suddenly you're worse off than when you started. But here's what I really want you to understand. The best time to protect your health is before you ever need these tests. That's why I'm such a passionate advocate for using healing herbs and natural remedies as your first line of defense, especially once you hit 50 or even earlier. Prevention isn't about catching problems late. It's about stopping them from developing in the first place. Okay, let's get into the 5 checkups that deserve a second thought. We will start with number 5 and work our way down to the number 1. Number 5 is routine bone density scans. You've probably heard about DEXA scans, DEXA, those quick painless tests that measure bone density to check for osteoporosis. Sounds harmless enough, right? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Some healthcare advocates argue that after age 70, these scans can create more anxiety than actual benefit. The reasoning goes like this. The bone loss is a completely natural part of aging, just like gray hair or laugh lines are. Almost everyone over 70 will show some degree of lower bone density on these bone density scans. The controversy comes in when those scans results lead to prescriptions for medications like bisphosphonates, I can't even pronounce it, a drug that's supposed to strengthen the bones. They can come with side effects, things like digestive issues, jaw problems, and in rare cases, unusual bone fractures. Now, here's the balanced view. For people who have already had fractures, have a family history of severe osteoporosis, or are at a very high risk, these medications can be genuinely helpful and even life-saving. The question is whether routine screening for everyone over 70 makes sense, especially when lifestyle changes can be incredibly powerful. Studies have shown that strength training, balanced exercises, vitamin D supplements, and a calcium-rich diet can reduce fracture risk by over 20%. That's significant. And these approaches have zero harmful side effects, only beneficial ones. So before you automatically agree to that bone density scan, have a conversation with your doctor. Ask questions. Do I really need this? What will we do differently based on the results? Are there lifestyle approaches that we should try first? Now let's talk about number 4 now, which is brain MRIs for mild memory concerns. This is something that we all worry about as we age, memory loss. You misplace your keys. You forget someone's name. You walk into a room and don't even remember why you were in the room. It's scary, I know. And the first thought that jumps into your mind is often Alzheimer's or dementia. So naturally, many doctors will order a brain MRI to check things out. But here's what some neurologists are now saying. In most cases of mild forgetfulness in people over 70, an MRI doesn't actually help. Why? Well, it's because these scans almost always show age-related changes, slight brain shrinkage, white matter spots on the brain that are completely normal in older adults. The problem is, seeing those changes on a scan can trigger massive anxiety. People panic, thinking that they have dementia, when really their brain is just getting older. Research published in neurology journals has found that in patients aged 70 to 85 with mild cognitive complaints, the vast majority of MRIs showed some kind of abnormality, but only a tiny fraction of those findings were linked to anything treatable. Meanwhile, the emotional toll of hearing there's something wrong with your brain can be devastating. People stop driving, stop socializing, stop doing the activities that they love to do, and that isolation and depression can actually make memory problems worse. The better first step? A simple cognitive screening test in your doctor's office. It's a paper-based exam that evaluates memory, attention, and problem solving. It's cheap, effective, and it doesn't carry the risk of unnecessary panic. And here's the other piece. Mild forgetfulness is often linked to things like poor sleep, dehydration, vitamin deficiency, medication side effects, or depression. These are all treatable without ever needing a brain scan. Unless you are experiencing severe symptoms, seizures, sudden personality changes, rapid decline in function, an MRI might not be your best first move. This one surprises a lot of people, and that's number 3. We're moving on. Cardiac stress test, where you walk on a treadmill while your heart is being monitored. These tests are supposed to detect blocked arteries and heart disease, and they absolutely have their place in medicine. That's what I'm saying. But here's the concern that some cardiologists have raised. These tests are often given to seniors who complain of mild fatigue or just not feeling like they used to. And in adults over 70, stress tests have a relatively high false positive rate, meaning that the test says there's a problem when there really isn't one. So what happens next? More tests, angiograms, sometimes even stent placement or bypass surgery. And while these procedures can be life-saving for people with genuine heart disease, they carry real risk. And that includes bleeding, kidney damage from contrast dyes, and extended hospital stays. Studies have shown that more than half of all stents placed after stress test referrals were done in patients who did not actually benefit from them in terms of survival or quality of life. I hope you're getting something from this video so far. Let's continue. I got more to share. Now let me be crystal clear. If you're experiencing classic cardiac systems, chest pain during activity, significant shortness of breath, or sudden drops in energy, absolutely get evaluated. A stress test might be exactly what you need. But if you're just tired and your doctor immediately jumps to let's do a stress test, it's worth asking about simpler options first. A resting EKG, blood work to check for anemia or thyroid problems, or even a conversation about your sleep and stress levels might give you answers without the risk. Okay, so this is where I want to pause for a few seconds and talk about something that's incredibly close to my heart. All of these scenarios that we have been discussing have something in common. They're reactive. They're about catching problems after they've already started developing. But what if we could prevent these problems from happening in the first place? That's exactly why I created my ebook, Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies. Because the absolute best strategy for staying healthy after 70 is to start taking care of your body at 40, 50, or 60 before any red flags appear. Healing herbs should be your first line of defense, not your last resort. Things like turmeric for inflammation, hawthorn berry for heart health, ginkgo biloba for cognitive function, and horsetail for bone strength. These aren't just folk remedies. Many of them have solid research backing their benefits. When you nourish your body with the right nutrients, herbs, and lifestyle practices early on in life, you can often avoid the cascade of testing and treatment that comes later on. You're building a foundation of health instead of waiting to repair damage. If you want to learn more about specific herbs for bone health, brain function, heart support, and overall vitality, grab a copy of the Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies guide. I'll put the link in the description below. It's packed with practical, evidence-based information that you can start using today. You'll be glad that you got it. All right, now we are at number 2, and this is a little uncomfortable to talk about, literally and figuratively, but it's important. Colonoscopies are the gold standard for detecting colon cancer, and they've saved countless lives. No question about it. But here's what the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force now says. Routine colon cancer screening should generally stop at age 75 for most people. After that age, the risk of the procedure starts to outweigh the benefits of those without symptoms. Why? The preparation involves harsh laxatives that cause dehydration and dizziness, which is especially risky for older adults. The sedation used during the procedure can affect brain function temporarily, and the procedure itself carries risks like bleeding, bowel perforation, rhythm problems. And major study found that every 1,000 colonoscopies done in patients over 75, only 2 lives were saved. More than 20 people experienced serious complications. Now, if you have symptoms like bleeding, changes in bowel habits, unexplained weight loss, or a strong family history of colon cancer, that's a completely different story. Colonoscopy might be absolutely necessary in those cases, but for routine screening in someone over 75 with no symptoms nor history of normal colonoscopies, many experts now recommend safer alternatives like the FIT test, a simple at-home stools test that catches most concerning cases without any prep, sedation, or risk. Always have this conversation with your doctor. Don't just assume that you need it because it's time. And now we've reached number 1, which is full body CT scans. These are sometimes offered as part of executive health packages or preventive screening programs. They're marketed as a way to catch cancer or other problems early, and they sound appealing, right? Who wouldn't want a comprehensive look at their health? Well, here's the problem. Full body CT scans expose you to significant dose of radiation, equivalent to about 500 chest x-rays. And while one scan probably won't hurt you, repeated scans over the years can add up. Even more concerning, these scans almost always find something. Tiny nodules, calcifications, cysts that are completely harmless and part of normal aging. But once they're spotted, you're often sent down a rabbit hole of more scans, biopsies, and procedures to investigate findings that would never have caused you a problem. Medical organizations, including the American College of Radiology, are clear. There's no proven benefit to full-body CT scans for general screening in healthy adults, and there's significant potential for harm. If you have specific symptoms, unexplained weight loss, persistent pain, visible swelling, then targeted imaging makes complete sense. But scanning the whole body just because is like throwing darts in the dark. You might hit something, but you're just as likely to cause damage. So here's what I want you to take home from this. More healthcare isn't always better healthcare, especially after you reach 70. Every test should have a clear purpose. Every procedure should have a clear benefit that outweighs the risk. Before you agree to any screening test, ask your doctor, why do I need this test? What will we do differently based on the results? What are the risks? And are these safe? And are there other alternatives? And most importantly, start protecting your health now, before you ever need these interventions. Real prevention starts with how you live every single day. Stay active, eat nutrient-dense, whole foods, get quality sleep, manage your stress, and incorporate healing herbs into your wellness routine as early as possible. If you want a comprehensive guide to doing exactly that, check out my ebook, Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies. It's a roadmap for building lasting health naturally. Again, the link is in the description below. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you love ever been through an unnecessary medical test? What was your experience? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and I love learning from you, from your wisdom as well. And please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next video where I'm going to share how to discover the secrets to reversing age and becoming naturally radiant. If you're over 65, like I am. You don't want to miss that one. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself, please. And I'll see you in the next video.